Hello, welcome to this lecture video. Our purpose is to discuss data sanitation. So you are lucky if you use a Google form and the data set or the data were generated only using the Google form. But if you were able to use the usual method, the manual method wherein you gather your data, you float the questionnaire and encoded the data manually, then of course that is prone to error. Now, after encoding the data, it is very important to sanitize first your data. That is, to make sure that as much as possible, it is encoded correctly. So in encoding, number one that you have to consider is that the data that you encoded are correct. So which means in encoding, you have to be very careful in encoding for your data. Because of course, if you commit error, then the analysis also will be affected because the generated that result will not reflect the correct data. So in the, just to discuss some of ways to eliminate some errors, we are going to make use of the Microsoft Excel, wherein before analyzing your data or before coming up with the computation like average, standard deviations, and all other computations, do not get so excited that you have to compute that the soonest possible. But give time for yourself first to check for your data before analyzing it. So to do that, as mentioned, this is the data set. So the first thing that you have to do is you can actually make use of the minimum and maximum value. So we are going to place it here. So what is the function minimum and maximum? So the function for us to place here is equal sign minimum, min, open parenthesis, and we're going to select our data from respondent 1 to the last respondent and click OK. So let's just highlight this to emphasize that these are the values that will be our basis now. And then the next one is also to consider the maximum value. So equal max max, open parenthesis, and select the data from respondent 1 to 30, or which depends on the number of your respondents, and click enter. So for our first data, we know that the expected codes here is only 1 and 2. So of course, we are lucky that the values here is limited into 1, 2. So it means that in a way, we did not commit errors in like placing instead of 1 is place you place the 5 or 6 or other numbers. So next, so let us just drag this. So just click your minimum and maximum data and then place the cursor in the corner. So you can see here the plus sign. So you will just drag that and until of course to the last data, and this is the last data. So the expected data here is 1 to 6 only, because going back to the questionnaire, so this is the questionnaire, the maximum encoded data is 6, the minimum is 1. So let us review the data. So we have here 1, 2, 1, 3. So for our next variable, this is age. So also check if the limitation of the age bracket that you use is only 1 to 3. And then here, it's 1 to 4. And then next, so we have here 1 to 22. This is already item number 1. So which means we committed error in encoding. So what will we do? The maximum is, take a look at that, 22. So let us search. Control F and locate number 22. So number 22 is respondent number. So let's go back. Who is this? This is respondent number 15. So which means you have to go back to the questionnaire of respondent 15 and look at the entry if you encoded it correctly or not. It might be that this is 2 and the next number is again 2 and then the third number is 3. So it move, the data entries move. Or it can be that you just encoded 2 twice, which of course must be only once. So you have to take a look at the questionnaire, and then after looking at the questionnaire, you have to double check the entry for respondent 15. So assuming that we were able to do that already and it's only 2. So let's go back. Of course, it does not mean that we ends there, because as you can see here, we have 10. And as mentioned, we are only expected to see 1 to 6. So which means we will again locate the entry 10. So control F, 10. So let us look at number 10. So this is respondent. So let's go back to respondent number. This is respondent number 9. So just like what we did to respondent number 15, we also need to go back to the data and double check it. So assuming that we were able to see the questionnaire and we found that the entry must be 1. So let's go back. Let's go down here. So let's see. So it's already 6. So the minimum value is 1. The maximum is 6. So we are already correct. So next, this is 54. So you again have to locate number 54. So for this item, respondent 29. So you have to look at the questionnaire and see what is the correct entry. Is it 5? Is it 4? Did we just commit mistake in encoding, and instead of encoding 5 here, we must encode 4 here and then 5. So maybe the entry move. So we have to look at that again. So assuming that it is 5. So since this is already 1 to 5, then it is okay. So it means that the highest rating given to this item is 5. It does not mean that since it is not 6, it's already wrong. Of course, it only means that none of the respondents rated it as 6. And then 1 to 6, so there's no problem here. But for the next entry, so again, the same procedure, locate the entry 45. So in the case of this, so it is here, number 25. So you have to double check that again using the questionnaire. Always use the questionnaire. Do not just assume that the entry is 4, for example, because the purpose of sanitizing your data, so will be useless if after doing that, you will just give a value that is not validated. So you have to validate it to the source of the data. So here we have 15. So you have to do, what you will do is again to select J, control F, and then locate 15. And then number 15 is this respondent. This is respondent number 25. So double check it in the questionnaire. So assuming that it is 5. So now looking at the minimum and the maximum value. So we have 1, entry 1 to 6, 1 to 2, 1 to 3, 1 to 4, and others. So which means we are all set. but this will not be included in the analysis. So we are going to remove this afterwards. Now, after doing that, you are ready to do the analysis. So thank you for watching.